everyone, it's Sharonda from Pay Your Weight, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Sandman Season 1, which is currently streaming on the Netflix platform. The series stars Tom Sturridge, who portrays Dream, who after escaping after decades of imprisonment, Dream, the personification of dreams, sets about to reclaim his lost equipment. So for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome, hello, so glad you came, I hope you stay. I'll tell you what I liked about this series, what I didn't like about the series, and is it worth your time or not binging the Sandman on Netflix. So this is going to be a spoiler-free review, do not worry, I will not be spoiling anything for those of you who have not watched yet, but just to give you a little background on the Sandman, this series is actually based on the graphic novels by Neil Gaiman, who also serves as co-creator of the series and also too is a writer on this season as well for the first episode. This season is actually based on volumes 1 and 2. Just if in case you want to go and read the graphic novels after watching this season, you know exactly where to follow along for season 1. So going into what did I actually enjoy about the Sandman? And to be honest, to really enjoy the series, you really have to get the character Dream right from a casting standpoint. And what I will say is I really like Tom Sturridge's Dream. I love the look that he has. I love this gothic look, which is kind of indicative to the graphic novels as well. But I just love from the costuming, from just how they have his hair, just how he has his mannerisms as Dream, you know, how he uses his voice to portray the character. I really think that he really embodies this character pulled right from the graphic novel. And that's one of the things that I will say too, and I'm not going to do a lot of comparison, but I do feel as though that things have to be mentioned about the graphic novel to really help you understand how this season of TV is kind of framed. And one of the things that I will say is in a world where we complain about graphic novel or comic book adaptations, I will say that the Sandman, if you actually go and read volumes 1 and 2, this series actually plays as you were reading the novels for yourself. And I just want to give kudos because, you know, but based on the structure of how the graphic novels are to the structure of what we have on this TV series, you know, whether you love it or hate it, I do want to say that they did a really great job of pulling what was on the page and actually putting it on our screens before us. I think they did a really great job with that. Now, I do want to get into some of the standout characters as I kind of talk a little bit more about what I enjoyed about the series. One of the things that I really enjoy is the relationships that we have between the characters. Now, even though we don't get to spend a lot of time with some of the characters that we come across in different episodes of the series, I will say that from a casting standpoint, the cast does a great job overall of really using the time that they have, whether it be for a short moment or a longer moment as you get to learn a little bit more about characters like Dream or the Corinthian or Lucian. I think they do a really great job of building quick relationships. An example of that I can give is the relationship between Dream and Lucian, who is played by Vivian Akpom. I think that she is absolutely fantastic as Lucian, who comes off as this librarian, but you feel as though that there's more to her character, that she is in a position of power, whether or not Dream wants to admit it or not, as we get to learn a little bit more about their relationship after his imprisonment. The scenes between these two, you feel that there's years of love and friendship between them. But even while you're still feeling that current tension that these characters are having, because of all of these years as Dream has kind of left his realm and the responsibility and pressure that has actually left upon Lucian, is so many words that are unsaid that you kind of feel from even just the conversation between these characters, that I just thought that it was just excellent chemistry of not having this romantic relationship, but you feel all of these different emotions through this friendship. And honestly, as you get to see Dream's arc of this creator of this world, this creator of all of these different people that we come in contact with, and really the repercussions of his absence, but also too, as you delve deeper into what it means to actually follow your purpose, as we see the creator relationship with his creations as they gain more independence after his disappearance. I really love as you get to see all of these different relationships play out between his creations, because it takes such a deeper meaning of understanding your purpose, but also too what happens when your purpose actually changes. Also, too, the relationship between Dream and one of his creations, the Corinthian, played by Boyd Holbrook. I absolutely adored his character. I loved him so much. He could be scary when he needed to be. He could have swag. I'd be like, hold on, I know you a villain, but you're doing something for me, okay, Corinthian? I loved his character so much that I wanted to see even more from his character, and I wanted to see his character fleshed out even more, whether that's only to my own personal wishes and them just really wanting to stick to the graphic novels. I really thought that the Corinthian made a really great impact, and I think that Boyd Holbrook really brought the character to life. Now, another standout that I did have is Kirby Howell-Baptiste. I think she's absolutely phenomenal as Death, and the episode where we get to focus on the character Death, it is one of the most beautiful and also heartbreaking episodes. I think that's one of the things that I love about the Sandman is with these characters, especially as, you know, you hear these iconic characters as Constantine, you hear about Lucifer and Death, and you have these preconceptions without reading the graphic novels of how these characters have been portrayed in various other forms of art. And they just find ways to take characters. You would never think that Death would just be this beautiful thing to watch on screen, and how you see the role that Death has, how it can be beautiful and heartbreaking at the same time. And I think that Kirby really brings a beautiful vulnerability to it. It's just like a kindness and a care that you would never think that you would use to describe the term death. And I really, really, really enjoyed her portrayal as well. Now, also too, what I will have to say is they do a really great job of balancing a lot of genres in the series. There is horror elements to this. They're kind of like fantasy action. There is some adventures, is an adventure pace, especially towards the latter half of the season. There's so many different genres in this series that honestly, I feel like a lot of people can find different ways to connect to it. If you love fantasy, you're probably going to like this. If you love kind of like period type of pieces as they go back into different parts of history, I think you will enjoy it as well. If you just want to see, you know, it gets hot and steamy sometimes. I really love, like, there's a lot of queerness on here that I liked as well. There's just so much that this series has to offer. Don't bring your kids to go watch it though, because I'm not trying to have nobody coming for me like, hold on girl, you said adventure. I said not the adventure for the kids. It is a more mature type of series, nothing too crazy, but I wouldn't tell nobody to let their kids be watching this, okay? All right, I said it. You can't come for me afterwards, okay? But I think they do a great job of balancing all of these different genres, but really keeps you on your toes, keeps you excited, wanting to continue to watch more. I do like the series better as it plays as a different story every episode, kind of like that episode of the week. I do feel like that is where the series is at its strongest, but there are some episodes that it takes a couple of episodes to build upon, you know, one set story. I'm trying to think, representation. They do a really great job of representation. There is some kind of gender bending of characters, you know, with Constantine. There's like gender changes, and even speaking to Neil Gaiman, you know, they didn't set out to actually change the gender of some of the characters from the graphic novels. They really wanted to find the best performer for the role. And I like that they actually took that approach, because the series reflects the world that we currently live in, whether they're going in past, future, or present. And I think that it doesn't feel like it's checking a box. I think that it makes sense for these characters. It doesn't take away. If anything, I think it adds even more depth to the portrayals that we have across all of the characters throughout season 1 of The Sandman. And so I really want to give kudos, because, you know, I always complain about it feels like someone's checking a box, and it really didn't feel that way. And while I was watching, I was like, wow, like this a lot of different representation, and I was totally here for it. I thought that they did a really great job with that. Desire. Mason Alexander Park, I did love Desire. Desire is such a petty thing, and I love it, okay? I want even more from Desire. And I think that would honestly lead me into some of the issues that I do have with this series as a TV show, right? While this does follow the graphic novel, I felt like it felt like a chaotic mess as far as how the episodes were arranged. When I started watching the first part of the season, I was like, man, this feels like a season finale. Like, are we going to do something different? Like, what's going to happen? And then it turns into a totally different story. And sometimes you feel as though like you're watching this and you're enjoying it, but does this actually add to the overall arching theme of the series? Like, do we need to watch this to understand what's going to happen towards the end of the season one? And some of the episodes, I would say no. But honestly, some of those episodes, especially the episode that centers around, meeting every 100 years without giving any spoilers away, that was actually one of my favorite episodes. And that character didn't necessarily have anything to do with the general plot of what is going on. But it does feel chaotic how they structured it. The graphic novels are a little just as chaotic because these are dreams, as you're seeing Dream go into different parts of his life, different people that he's come in contact with. I felt like that should have been something that should have been changed for the TV series to just make it a little bit more coherent, because everyone that is watching the Sandman isn't necessarily going to be someone that has read the graphic novel, just as it was for my viewing experience. I watched the series first before actually going to check and see how does this compare to the graphic novel that it was based on. Now, whether or not that works for people who are new to the material, I do think that it does a good job of making you want to go read the graphic novels afterwards. But I think as a TV series, it kind of took a while for me to actually become invested in the characters and invested in the series as a whole. Now, while I'm speaking about the characters, I talk about the characters that I love, like Lucien or the Corinthian. I do feel as though that I wish we fleshed out characters a little bit more. I think when you do get into TV, you can do a little bit more about fleshing those characters out. And maybe it's from a casting standpoint. Something that we're seeing in Hollywood right now is they're casting all of this great talent for roles. And when you saw the announcement of the cast of the Sandman, I was excited. I was like, hold on, y'all got Gwendolyn? Y'all got all these people here? Like, okay. By the way, Gwendolyn looks absolutely fantastic as Lucifer, and it's another character where I was just like, Lucifer's so pretty, y'all. Like, why Lucifer looks so good? But why is it Lucifer? I shouldn't be feeling this way about Lucifer, but there's like a beauty that she brings to that character, which I think does a great job of the whole fallen angel thing. Like, I feel like her portrayal of Lucifer reminds you that Lucifer was once an angel, was once a person that looked like everyone else. I thought that it kind of brings you closer to like kind of that origin story. But because there's so many great people like Gwendolyn who are portraying these characters, you don't get to spend that much time with them. I was like, so that's all I'm getting to Lucifer? That's all I'm getting to Death? Like, which is really a testament to their performances, how they're portrayed, because they're so fantastic that you just want to spend more time with them. And I wish that that's something that could have necessarily been changed to flesh out a little bit more, especially as you get to understand the storyline between the relationship of Dream and Dream's siblings. I'm just like, for all this little sibling rivalry right now, I would love to understand the backstory of why certain people don't get along. And I just felt like that's missing. And I know you're like, Sharonda, it's a season of TV. They have season 2 to do that. As we know in today's climate, season 2 is not always promised to us. And I just wish that we could have had a little bit more of the character development of all of these cool and awesome characters throughout the entire season. Now, even though I have those issues, there's other issues, but I feel like they're very nitpicky. Like, Patton Oswalt, as the voice of Matthew the Raven, was a little distracting to me because his voice is so like well known that it felt out of place for me, and I could be in the minority on that. And then also too, like, there are certain characters that can't necessarily carry the story as they should. And for the second half of the season, especially as we get into the last couple of episodes, they were building it so much that the stakes felt high and then just didn't feel high anymore, that it just kind of at the end you're like, oh, that's the finale? Thought I was going to pack a little bit more punch than that, especially because at the beginning I was, like I said, I'm watching the beginning. I was like, hold on, all of this going on? Like, it's a lot happening. Is this the season finale already? And then you get to the actual season finale. You was like, well, baby, I needed you to have the energy that the first half of the season had. And so that energy wasn't matching for me. So you might feel a little bit let down by the season finale. And especially I felt like they could have did more with the Corinthian in that season, like as we got into the last couple of episodes. But we'll have to talk about that in another time on a spoiler review. But overall for me, I still enjoyed The Sandman. I had fun with this chaotic mess of a story as I tried to fight through how these episodes were ordered. But due to the great performances and the great casting and the world that they've built actually looks beautiful. It looks fun. It's dark and gloomy to watch, but it actually feels like something that I want to be more immersed in as you meet all of these characters and you see side characters. Like, I'm still trying to figure out why your boo thing in hell, just little things like that. But I had a really great time watching The Sandman, and honestly it exceeded my expectations of what I actually thought I was going to watch on screen. So what I would tell you to do with you and your time for The Sandman, I will tell you that it is worth the binge. If you have not watched The Sandman, if you started on the first episode and you said, I don't know about this, I would tell you to keep watching. It's a fun ride. I think you're going to fall in love with some of the same characters as I have, and I would be very interested to know in the comment section below, how did you feel about The Sandman season 1? But as always, those are my thoughts on this series. Let me know in the comment section below, what did you think about it? But as always, my name is Sharonda from Pay Your Weights, and if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit that notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. And until I see you again,